Would you like to become a fascinating personality, break free from plateaus, and gain power over your mental resources and your full potential? You came to the right place. Welcome to a magical journey to yourself. This show is made in Germany. If you like the show, please subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or puremindmagic.club. Welcome to Season 1, Shaping Your Reality. And here is your host, international magician, speaker, and book author, Victoria Mavis.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a new episode of the Pure Mind Magic podcast with the midweek motivation today. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining me on the topic of today, secret hints in books. So, when I started out with magic many years ago, I literally had to learn anything from books. It was not like today that there were all these DVD sets and YouTube and online videos, what makes it kind of way easier to learn magic. But when I started, I really had to sit down, read all the books, go through all the drawings and put everything together to make the illusion work in the end. And as you can imagine, with sleight of hand and several card tricks, that was pretty tough to work my way through. And for example, in the Magic Circle of London, they still got books down there in the basement from the 18th century and also some books that are still handwritten. So pretty hard to work your way through and learn from that. So thankfully, times have changed. But I still believe that there is some magic and mysteries around books. Because think of it like that. Some books really contain a lifetime of wisdom from the author, and you can learn in maybe 2 to 3 weeks everything this person has gone through a lifetime and collected all these experiences, and you can learn directly from that, what I think is really kind of magical. And we humans are really good in learning from stories, so they say that facts tell but stories sell, and that is very true, because when you think of the last seminar you have been to, you can probably remember the stories this person was telling, but it's pretty hard without your notes to say what exactly for facts they gave away and numbers and all of that. So you can literally learn anything from books, and it's pretty simple in every city to walk just into the library, surround yourself with all these books, and it's fantastic because it's so quiet there. And then you can just start learning and looking around and jumping from one book to the other and finding out everything in this area you are interested in. And I always find it interesting, and this is why I picked up this topic for this very episode, is that sometimes maybe you made this experience too, and when you do, so please leave a comment below this episode, that sometimes it seems like a specific book is crossing your way at a specific time in your life. And it is almost that this very book has an impulse or an answer for you, something you are looking for at the moment. And I have this very often. Maybe it is because I pay really close attention to everything that is going on around me and what people are talking about. And when I now returned from the last seminar, I had a book that was mentioned from 3 different sources in 48 hours 3 times. And I thought, I should find out more about it. So I directly ordered it. I heard of it before, but now it seemed like strange that I had like this 3 hints in a very short period of time, and it is called the book 10x. I will put it in the show notes so you can check, maybe you feel like attracted to it as well. And it's like about maximizing your results. And I think everyone is interested in doing that. So it would be so magical to snip just with our fingers and then get instant results. But most of the time, unfortunately, there is some work involved, or at least some work that you have to create an asset or a system that is then working magically for you, what I would say is the best way to do it. And of course, there are also books on that, how to create systems that work for you, that run your business and help you get things done. So maybe you are open for also impulses like books you find in different channels, but sometimes it's really interesting. And I have to say that I had that happened to me many times, especially when I've been at the airport in different countries, because when you step in a bookstore there, especially at the airport, because they sometimes have different books laying out there than in a normal bookstore somewhere downtown, and it's always interesting what they have there. And I really had this experience that I've been like 2 years ago to the airport in London and picked up a book that brought me onto a completely different path, like learning really new skills all around hypnosis just by picking up this book. So I came back to London this year to really learn hypnosis on a deeper level, to enhance my magic performance and also to understand better how our mind and our subconscious is working and working to help us reach our goals and make our life easier, like to bring in more magic. So sometimes it's really interesting, all the stories that arise from picking up just one book that you see there when you're traveling. And let me know when you have a similar experience to that. And as I said, just leave a short comment below this episode. So another thing is that I still love that feeling of physical books. So I think there's something different when you can really mark anything in there and write some notes in there. It's then for me more like really working with the book. And maybe you remember that the biggest secret to all this self-improvement things is that people don't do it. So they read book after book after book, but they never implement the things they have learned. And I find it more easily to implement things and really get the things in my head by reading a physical book and taking my own notes and setting my own marks there than having it digital. What is of course also nice when you are traveling, because it's not that heavy, obviously. But there is the thing about physical books that brings us to the thing that I'm still working on it, to build my own library, because I just love that feeling to be surrounded by all these books and all the books I have already read. And I found out by reading all these books on self-improvement and how our mind works and the success principles around that, most of the really successful and high influential people in the world today have their own library at home. So there must be something to it. And maybe you also know that in a lot of these films from people that are really successful and people that making these important decisions, they all have their library and sitting around in the film scenes there. And I once read that, for example, Bill Gates has also his own library at home, and he has a very expensive book there that is about $250,000, this one book, and he has this like behind glass there. And he also says that he loves being around his books because it's this feeling of being around this knowledge. So just keep that in mind. Maybe this is also an inspiration for you to collect the books and give them some space in your home to remind yourself of all this knowledge, and connected to that, all the possibilities, as I said. So when you learn something new, you see new possibilities right away. And there's another way how you can use your books in a very intuitive way, I would say. So when you are about to find a concrete answer to something you are looking for at the moment, there's a way to answer that question for you. And then when you have a shelf with books, go there, pick by intuition any one you like, and then open it at any page and put your finger at any spot there, and then see what the answer will be, or the word. And you will be surprised how often it fits so perfectly. It is just a way to work with your subconscious mind, so nothing too mysterious to it, but I think it's a more playful way really to tap yourself into it and finding an answer to do that. And it's really amazing. So sometimes it sparks completely new ideas when you do it. So if you like, just give it a try and see where it takes you. Then I wanted to tell you from my last seminar I just returned from, and it was so fascinating because there was one lady and we actually changed business cards because I want to bring her on the show here. I just loved her energy. She got so inspired from the seminar that she stood up and said, because the seminar was starting on Friday until Sunday, that until Sunday she will have completed her first book. And she got massive applause for that, because she made the commitment in front of everybody that she will do it. Sit down after seminar and get it out of her head. Because maybe you are one of these people who have a written book in your head. You just haven't sat down and got it out of your mind, but you're carrying it with you all the time. And let me tell you that it kind of drags some energy out of you when you just have it in your mind and don't bring it out. So this lady is about, or was about to do that. And yes, stay tuned in so you will find out when I'm publishing this interview with her and talking about her experiences, how that felt, making this commitment, sticking with it, and turning herself into an author. And there is this magical thing about when you put on your profile author, because author comes from authority. So you position yourself as an expert or authority in your field, in your area of expertise. And there's another perception when you are an author, because that changes how people are aware of you and your work. So very big advantages in becoming an author and putting that on your profile or your CV. And maybe talking about all these books, you got inspired to create yours. When this is the first episode you're listening to, then I can tell you that I'm about now to finish my first book on podcasting. It is called How Podcasting Can Change Your Life, Unleash Unlimited Possibilities. I'm really in the last chapters because I have to publish it soon. It's online, so I can't change it anymore. Just have to upload the whole manuscript until that date. And this book will inspire you all around podcasting. Maybe you are more into the audio, then this book will help you to turn your idea of becoming a podcaster into a reality. But maybe you are more the person who likes to write, then it would be the perfect time for you. Remember, last week was the episode on timing. So the perfect timing to start your book and write it. And I have a good tip for you, a secret tip here, maybe a little bit. It helps you a lot when you get your cover done. So there's a really good place to do that, and that is Fiverr. So it starts really at a low price, and you can get your cover done very soon and very fast. So it gets another feeling when you can print out your book cover. I promise you, there is so much more motivation in it to see your book there out printed in front of you, and this will make it easier for you to get started. And best, you put this cover somewhere where you can see it every day, maybe over your desk or some other place you like at your home. So that's my tip here. And of course, writing a book is a process, the same as creating a podcast. So you will develop around or along the way and learn a lot of new skills. So that is so helpful. And maybe you're seeking for even more inspiration, then I have a good tip for you. An author that is coming up very soon in the mid of September here on Pure Mind Magic. And his name is Mark Hepwood. He's the author of the book Happiness Rules. That is a really great book that explores how we can become more happier with really helpful and cool strategies in it. He's also a really nice guy and great to talk about. He has all that wisdom I was talking about before, and I will put in the show notes his link so you can buy the book Happiness Rules directly from Amazon or Mark's website, what I will put also in the show notes, so you can find out more about him, because he does also speaking gigs around his book. He is based in London, and as I said, in the middle of September, he will be my expert guest here. And maybe that inspires you even more to get started with your own book. So I think a lot of tips for today to get inspired by reading or by writing or by doing both, whatever comes to your mind. Maybe also, as I mentioned, play around with the books and see what answers they will give you. And also, as myself, pay attention what messages, what book titles cross your path more often, maybe on Facebook, on a podcast, or even on a billboard, you never know. Or you just hear some people talking about it, or on the radio, like this message. And then maybe this is at the moment a good book for you to read and find out more about. So all for now. I have another great interview for you this Friday coming up, where you will really learn more about how our mind works and the deep success principles. So make sure to tune in again. Enjoy the rest of the day or the beginning of your day, however, wherever in the world you are listening at the moment. I wish you all the best. Thanks for listening. Until next time, create some magic.